So next question, 2024. Okay, yeah, next question. Now it says what? Who received the least amount? Okay, who received the least amount? Now first thing, what is written? Consider the question and statements. A certain amount was distributed among x, y, z. So certain amount was distributed among x, y, z. Now it is asking you who got the least amount. So you need to tell me who basically, who got the least amount. Who means there should be one of them, x, y, z, that I can definitely fill here, then it is sufficient, otherwise not. Now let's get started. So statement 1, x received 4 by 5 of what y and z got. So x is equals to 4 by 5 times y plus z. Okay, okay. Does this tell you anything? No, I don't know. It may be that y is very small, okay, and z is very big, or z is very big, y is very small. I don't know anything about this. This is only one equation. So definitely not enough to know the least. Okay, then next, y received 2 by 7 of what x and z together received. So this is y is equals to 2 by 7 of x plus z. Can you get anything from this or? This also does not give you anything. Of course, x, z, I can have x very large, z very small, or z very large, x very small. So x may be the least, z may be the least, maybe y is the least. I am not getting anything from this. So second statement alone is also not enough. Okay, now let's see the combination of both of them. So let's try to see the combination. So x is this, y is this. Now let's try to solve this. By the way, can you think that we will get to something that will tell us that which one will be the least? First, let's try to see. Can you think that will these two equations give you something? What do you think? See, basically, I'll solve it for you to get to the answer, but develop that intellect. So basically, there are two equations. Now, how many unknowns do I have? I have 3 unknowns. Okay, so I have 3 unknowns and I have 2 equations. Now, one thing that you will get from here is eventually the ratio of x, y, z you can get from here. Always. Why you can get ratio of x, y, z from here? Because as you can see, they don't have any constants with them. So here you will get ratio of x, y, z. Understood? So you won't be getting the exact value, but you will get the ratio. Because eventually, let's say the sum is some fixed number. Now you will at least get to know which one will be what proportion of that sum. You will see how. Okay, so always remember, if there are 3 variables are there and there are 2 equations, you can at least get the ratio of those 3. Similarly, if there are 4 variables and 3 equations, still you will get the ratio of them, provided that there is no constant term. For example, plus 9, okay, plus 12, all these are not there, then you can get the ratios at least. Remember this. Now, if you remember this, then the answer becomes C, because you will get to it. Now, let's see how you get to it by solving. So, solving is also fairly easy. You just send 5 here. So, this becomes 5x is equals to 4y. Let me write it. 4y plus z. Okay, and this one becomes 7y is equals to 2x plus 2z. Sorry, this will be 4z. 4 into, correct? So now I multiplied this with 2 so as to get 14y is equals to 4x plus 4z. Now I have this equation and this equation. Okay, 5x is equals to 4y plus 4z, 14y is equals to 4x plus 4z. Now I can eliminate 4z. Can you see how? I will send 4y here and 4x here. So ultimately what you get 5x minus 4y is equals to 14y minus 4x. I have eliminated z. Correct? 4z I have eliminated. Now I can send x here. So this becomes 5x plus 4x, 9x is equals to 14y plus 4y is equals to 18y. So x came out to be 2y. If x came out to be 2y, then can you find the value of z in terms of y? Yes, of course you can. So you put here, let's say you put here, you put the value of x is equals to 2y here. So what you will get? You will get this. I am putting x is equals to 2y. So I will get 10x, sorry, 10y, x is equals to 2y. So I put 2y here. So this becomes 10y is equals to 4y plus 4z. 4y I will send there. So that becomes 6y is equals to 4z. Or z is equals to 3 by 2y. Now if z is equals to 1.5y and x is equals to 2y, which is the least? Y is the least. You can get the direct ratio also. So in place of x you will put 2y, in place of y you will put y, in place of z you will put 3 by 2y. Now can you see the ratio? Yes, of course you can see the ratio. Multiply it by 2. So 4 ratio 2 ratio 3. This is the ratio of x by z. Clearly y is the least. So you are getting to something which you can put here, that is which is the least? Y. So answer becomes C, that is both of them together is giving you the answer. Understood? Then, but you don't have to always do this. You understood? So if there are 3 variables and 2 equations, you can at least get to the ratio. So you will be able to tell which one is the largest, which one is the smallest, provided you don't have any constant terms. Understood? Then let's get forward. Then it says this question is, if the average marks in the class are 60, then what is the number of students in the class? Average marks is 60. You need to tell number of students in the class. Okay. Average is equals to, or average is equals to sum upon number. This you understand? Then that means here sum is equals to average into number. Now what is the average? Average is 60. If the average marks in the class are 60 and how many students are there? I don't know. So I write it as 60n. Now if I somehow get to know the sum of them, if I somehow get to know the sum of them, then I can find n. Correct? Sum by 60 will give me n. This you understand? So basically to find n, it is asking you, not given in the question, but you understand this, that can you find sum of marks of all students? This is the real question. If you can find this, then of course you can tell the number. Of course in statements also they won't be telling you the number only, ki 50 bacche hain. So then what is the question? What is the number of students? Then there is nothing. That statement is enough because it gives you. So of course they won't be giving you directly the number of students. So they will be essentially testing that can you find the sum of the numbers, sum of the marks of all the students. If you can, then it's fine. Otherwise it will be insufficient. Now first statement, the highest marks in the class is 70 and the lowest marks is 50. Can you find the sum using this? No. If I tell you, imagine you are in school, class 6, there are 40 students. Okay, I tell you highest जो है वो राघव का है and he got 70 marks and lowest जो है वो अंजलि का है, she got 50 marks. What is the total sum of marks? All students marks you need, no? Correct. Without that how you will find the sum? So this is not possible, not enough at all. Then exclusion of highest and lowest marks from the class does not change the average. So whatever is the average of the class, whatever is the average, now I send the highest, let's say Anjali and Raghav, I send them both outside the class to say that now I will count your marks sum again. Now it is telling you one thing, that the average remains same. That means the sum of both of them was equivalent to, if instead of removing those two, highest and lowest student, had I removed two very average students who had the average marks, then also it would have been same. This statement is saying this, that instead of removing those, if I remove the average students, two average students, still the average would be the same in class. This you understand? Correct. For example, there are 10 students, got different marks, ultimately 50 becomes the average. Now, if I remove two students who got 50 marks each, will the average change? No, the average won't change because they already were at 50 marks. If I remove two students who were getting 60 marks, तो अब ज़्यादा marks वाले student, the students who had more marks have now left. So then the average will reduce. But if they have same as average, it won't change anything in average. So highest and lowest went, didn't change anything in average, but it is not telling you anything about the remaining sum of students. Okay, so this is also definitely not enough. Even if you include them both, it won't be enough. Because unless you don't know if this is a 40 people class or any number of people's class, and I don't know the marks of all these students, I won't be able to find the sum. Okay, so this is not possible. Just by highest lowest nothing will work. Both of them together also is not enough. Answer becomes D. Cannot be answered even by using both the statements. Okay, then in fact, one interesting thing I can tell you, when you are dealing with quantitative topics, no, when you are doing quantitative analysis of anything, okay, like people who are doing research and all, they do, so what they do, something, so if the curve is like this, so basically they do what, they usually just ignore the lowest outcomes as well as the highest outcomes because they are very small in number, and then they try to find out the average. So now think, removing the, if of course they do this because removing the very low ones and very large ones to get to the number that is average. Now average is not altered when you remove both of these parts. Okay, so here also average won't be affected. So you cannot find the average, which is a very important quantity here, just by if I tell you some things about here and some things about here. This won't give you the answer. You must need something about these people. That is the large majority, which has around the average, not the highest and lowest. Then next is this. Yeah, let's try this. What are those three numbers? Okay, their sum is less than 23. One of the number is 5. Okay, now see. So what are those three numbers? So it says there are three distinct prime numbers whose sum is a prime number. Three distinct prime numbers whose sum is a prime number. Then, so that means there are three distinct prime numbers, P, Q plus R. This is equal to some S, which is also a prime number. This is given in the question itself. Then what are those three numbers? So you need perfect three numbers. If you can fill it, then it's fine. Otherwise, it's not fine. So first statement, their sum is less than 23. Sum is less than 23. Okay. So P plus Q plus R is less than 23. Then can you find it using this? Can you find it using this? Okay. So first thing that you need to understand is this, that this sum has to be less than 23 as well as a prime. Now what are the possibilities? So first let's write down prime numbers less than 23. So what are they? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19. Any more? No. 21, 23, 23 still less hona chahiye, and 21 is not a prime number. So these are the prime numbers. Now this sum also has to be a prime number and it has to be less than 23 because their sum is less than 23. Now sum has to be a prime number. Now see, one property that you should never forget whenever you are dealing with prime number based questions is this, that 2 is the only even prime number. If 2 is the only even prime number, Another thing that is very important here is to understand this. I'm writing it here. See this, that even plus even will be equal to even, and odd plus odd will also be equal to even. Only when you have even plus odd or odd plus even, same thing, that then you can get an odd number. And except for 2, all prime numbers are odd. Now see, if I somehow try to even take 2, then what will happen? The other numbers are odd, so this will become 3 numbers, p plus q plus r, even plus odd plus odd. Odd plus odd will be even, so even plus even eventually, and you get to a even number. Now is there any even number other than 2 that can be a prime? No. That means 2 तो हम ले ही नहीं सकते. I cannot take 2 at all in this PQR, because that will make my result even. That is not possible at all. Then other possibility is 3, 5, 7. If I take 3, 5 and 7, then what happens? Then 3 plus 5 plus 7 is what? What is their sum? 3 plus 5 is 8, 8 plus 7, 15. Is 15 a prime number? No. So this is also gone. Now I can try for another one. Let's try. See, I am trying the smaller numbers, because 17, 19, if I add anything, it will go about 23. So I have tried 3, 5, 7. Now let me try the second lowest sum. Second lowest sum will be 3, 5 and 11. Now this is what? So this is 3 plus 5 plus 11. What do you get here? 19. 19 is a prime number. Nice. This is working now. Now let's see another smaller number if I can make. So I make 3 plus 5 plus 13. 3 plus 5 plus 13, will it work? 3 plus 5 plus 13, will it work? No. This is 8 plus 13, that is 21. So 21 also does not work. Now let's leave 3. Let's leave 3 aside, because now if I go 3, 5 and 17, then it will cross 23. Now let's try another one. Let's try this. So 5, 7 and 11. What do you get? 5 plus 7, 5 plus 7 plus 11. So this is what? 7 plus 5 is 12, 12 plus 11 is 23. This is a prime number, but sum had to be less than 23. Sum had to be less than 23. So this is also not possible. Any other thing that you try to take, for example 3 plus 5 plus 13, this will become 8 plus 3 plus 5 plus what we are not taken, 17. So this will become what? 8 plus 17, that is 25, again greater than 23. So this is also not possible. All these are not possible. Only thing that is satisfying are these 3, 5 and 11. Okay, and that is why statement 1 in itself is enough. Interesting, correct? So statement 1 in itself is enough. Now this you have to do practice. First is identifying what are the prime numbers, so you remember prime numbers till 30 at least. After that, the second thing that you need to be clicked in your mind immediately is 2 to be included or is 2 to be ignored? Very basic. They have also given questions where 2 has to be included. Why? Because the sum was given as even. If I want to make even sum, I must have 2. There is no other option. Okay, if I want to make a triplet, sum of 3 numbers as even, then I must have 2. So first thing that should come to your mind whenever you make a list of this, कि 2 को include करना है कि नहीं करना है, and you will have only one answer, that yes, you must include 2, no, you don't have to include 2, because mostly they give it around odd and even. Then once you get done with this, then you understand the sum has to be less than 23. So you don't start looking here, because these are big numbers. Anything you add, it will cross 23. So you start with small numbers and try to make small triplets. That's how you get to this. Otherwise, I've seen solutions of most coachings everywhere. What they will tell you, Bede, if you take 3, 5 and 11, it is coming like this, and if you try anything, you are not getting, so answer B. This does not mean anything. You will see this in most cases. What they will do, they will tell you the favorable cases, and that's it. That becomes the answer. Sometimes UPSC asks number of possible cases, and then they do what? They will just give you all the cases and you and then tell you that 1, 2, 3, 4 cases. So 4 cases, so 4 becomes answer. It does not mean anything. How you would know that there are only 4 cases? So here what we have done, that you get to this and then you see all of them are crossing 25. That's why there is no other possibility. This is the only answer. So always try to find solutions which are telling you how to get to possibilities. Possibility बता दिया, बहुत अच्छा हो गया, short trick हो गई सर, तो 2 मिनट में बता देते हैं, does not help you in any way, because now they are asking you number of possible cases. Here also number of possible cases only is asked. If number of possible cases was 1, then this was sufficient, otherwise it's not. Understood? So now let's see the second statement. One of the number is 5. One of the number is 5. Is this enough to tell what are those prime numbers? No, because if the sum is not limited, that is sum is not limited by 23, then you can have many. For example, let's say this is 5, 3, 5 and 1, 4. Yeah, 3, 5, 11 though we had anyway checked. 19 aata hai. So that is 1. Now I can also have, for example, I can have 5, 7 and 11. 5, 7 and 11 if I try. Now here I rejected it because it had to be less than 23. Here 23 is also possible. And these are not limited, because this is not limited by 23. You can also have many more. For example, you can have 5, 11 and let's say 13. So what you are getting, 11 plus 13 is 24, 24 plus 5 is 29. So this is also correct. So there are many possibilities. You cannot fill one number. So this is not needed at all. Now answer becomes what? Yeah, answer becomes A. The question can be answered by using one of the statements alone, but cannot be answered using the other statement alone. Very specific. Okay. So answer becomes A. You understood the concept? Okay. That's it. Then